Hey guys, it's Francis. Today is Thursday, January 23rd, 2025. This is my trade review. We'll start with the market bias today. Definitely another bullish take. Um, it did open lower here, but for me, as long as I hold this little dotted line at around 605, then it had a good chance of breaking the previous day high and keep going. And that's exactly what the SPY did. Not so much on the Qs. It had a little bit more work to do, plus it was gapping below the previous line. So more of a neutral bias for me on the Qs. So with the stock, I only had one stock that I traded, but I traded it 3 times. This was off of a, actually let's look at the longer time frame. Here, see on the monthly is just crazy extension here. Weekly, it's all right, not too overextended, but on the daily, you see one, this is technically red, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days on volume on today. I was looking for a scalp short. You can ignore these little circle points. These were areas that I would have considered doing an option. So for me, for this one, let's go back here. For me, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green bars on the 5 minute, sorry, on the 2 minute, and then we get a little red bar, but not on volume. Then we got 3 more bars, and then on a topping tail. I had considered shorting it right here, so I drew this little dot. Would have traded back to the VWAP. I think I would have hit 30 cents on this one. Then I would have considered doing it at 37 because it broke through the high. And then I would have considered adding it right here. This would have been the third add had I gone in. But what I actually traded for the stock was I first bought in at $38. This was half lot because I don't know how extended OKLO could be. And then I actually added another half right here, as you can see. So my average became $38.50. I gave myself $1 stop loss. I pulled back to closer to the moving average, 20 moving average below the 90 EMA. I thought, hey, it should be good. This kind of freaked me out, and then it pushed back. But eventually it just kept pushing out, tagged out. Then as it progressed up, I was looking at the 5 minute at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like over 10 bars green. And this is where I shorted. I shorted at 39.50 by 10.50. Again, this is time for a full lot. I actually got 1R right here. I had contemplated on selling it. I think where was 1R right here. So 38.50, I got 1R. I contemplated on selling it because for overextension plays, usually it's a 1R scalp. I find that a little bit better. It's hard for it to continue on for 2Rs, at least based on my observation. But with how extended this stock was, I felt like it had room, or my inclination was I had more room to go back to the VWAP area, which was this line right here. But it didn't. This time I didn't make the same mistake as yesterday. I kept my management intact. I moved it to stop to break even, and with this green bar, I got stopped out. But I continued to watch the stock. I didn't believe that I can continue 3 times in a row, and eventually, as it broke through 40, I got in again. Again for a full lot, 40 by 41. I probably could have tightened up the stop, but I didn't want to gamble on that. $1 stop loss seems reasonable, and I eventually got out at 1.5, a little bit over 1.5 at 38.45. And the reason why I got out here is because this is where it kind of bounced, this area, and this was the area where I got 1R, and it eventually trailed me out break even. So I decided to take 1.5. You can see here it eventually did hit 2R at $38. And I would have been good throughout the day, but it actually never came back down to this point. So all in all today, I am up 0.55R. Unfortunate that I couldn't get a full 1R on this one, and this one unfortunately trailed break even. It is what it is. Some of the stocks I didn't trade included Apple. Apple's had a gap up today, and I liked it over this area above 224.50 area, and that's exactly what it did. It chopped, hit this line, and then shot up. I drew this little wedge slash pendant, and what I saw was its relative strength to the market, albeit a little bit. So as Apple came down and pushed up, Qs were still kind of chopping around very much, right? It did a double bottom, but Apple was already pushing up. I actually contemplated on, I waited for this doji. This green bar retested this downward trend line above VWAP, above the 9 EMA. I had my order ready. I think I got freaked out a little bit from AVGO the other time where it just kind of stopped out, and that messed up my psychology a little bit. But 225.50 by 224.70. So this would have been an 80 cents. I think I would have got a full 2R up here. And that's pretty much it. Another trade I contemplated was Tesla. So Tesla was on a gap down. Let's go back on the daily here. It basically opened at this trend line. I was waiting for it to hold this area. I kind of chopped around in the beginning, and then as it pulled back, it went to this area. I almost submitted the order for right here. Actually, I think I was a little bit aggressive. I think I would have submitted the order right here on the 2 minute as it broke through this area, 114 like 15. I would have stopped me out because I think I would have just put the stop loss right here. Kind of regret not taking this trade by this because I felt like, yeah, Tesla would have got a full 2R as well if I traded it from here. Let's say I got that right there. Okay, so I wouldn't have hit 2R. It would have hit 2R if I gave it that wide of stop. I don't know if I would have, but that was one of the things I was looking for. Relative weakness, holding this area support. It did break, but ended up closing below the VWAP. And then lastly was AMD. So I drew this trend line on AMD because it was moving back up and then it gapped down. And I was eyeing on if it did push back up above this area, if it touched this trend line, I would have shorted it. I contemplating on doing this one right here because I had a little downtrend line, but because I don't have options, I decided to stay out. If this was a stock trade, I think the moment it touched this one, I would have been able to find entry, but as you can see, it never went that way. So all in all, 3 trades, all on AKLO, ended off with 0.55R for today. So that's my trade review for Thursday, January 23rd, 2025. Thank you.